Hey everyone, welcome to week 12 of the college football season. My name is Mike Browning. I am the host of College Football Road Trip at cfbroadtrip.com. I just recently posted about my most recent trip to University of Kentucky in Lexington, Kentucky. So go check out everything I did on that trip. In the meantime, there are a lot of really good matchups this week for week 12. So with that said, let's jump right into the picks. We're going to start off with a Friday night matchup. In Conference USA, we have Louisiana Tech traveling to Marshall. These are two of the better teams in Conference USA. Louisiana Tech is 5-0 in conference play. Marshall is 4-1. Both teams look pretty good. Louisiana Tech obviously undefeated in conference play. I think they're going to be able to keep up that undefeated streak this week on the road. So I am picking Louisiana Tech to win at Marshall on Friday night. Let's go to a Big Ten matchup next. We have Indiana traveling to number 9 Penn State. Obviously, Penn State is coming off their first loss of the season last week to Minnesota in a great matchup. Indiana is a team that I think has been under the radar for most people. If you haven't looked, they are 7-2 so far on this season. They just really haven't played anybody, which means this matchup is going to be a big matchup for them. But I think Penn State is going to be too angry coming off the loss. I think they're going to come in and just dominate this game from beginning to end. I'm picking Penn State to win at home over Indiana in Big Ten play. Next, let's go to a top 25 matchup. We have number 23 Navy traveling to number 16 Notre Dame. I saw news this week that this might be the first game since the 1970s that Notre Dame will not sell out at home, which kind of surprises me for a top 25 matchup. It wouldn't surprise me so much when they played Boston College in a couple of weeks, but it surprised me in this one. Navy is another team that lost at the beginning of the year, so they kind of lost a lot of the exposure that they probably should have had. Notre Dame is coming off the win last week. I think that Notre Dame is going to be able to continue that this week. I think Notre Dame will just have a little too much for Navy, though I think Navy will keep it close in the first half. But I'm picking number 16 Notre Dame to win at home over number 23 Navy. Next, let's go to an ACC matchup. We have Wake Forest traveling to number 3 Clemson. Last week, I was really excited about this matchup, but then Wake Forest had to go and lose their game, which kind of knocked them out of the top 25 and knocked this game off of being a top matchup, which could hurt Clemson more in the long run if they happen to lose a game between now and the end of the year by not having a good strength of schedule with their ACC opponents. Clemson's just going to have way too much in this game. I think Wake Forest might keep it close to the first quarter and a half, and then Clemson will pull away and win pretty easily. Number 3, Clemson will win at home over Wake Forest in ACC play. Let's go to the Big 12 next. We have number 19, Texas, traveling to Iowa State. Texas pulled off the win over Kansas State last week. That's one of the matchups I got wrong. Iowa State, on the other hand, came as close as you could to upsetting Oklahoma without actually pulling off the win. Not getting that 2-point conversion obviously cost them the game, but they're traveling back home this week. I think that Iowa State is going to pull this one off over Texas. Texas, although they got a couple secondary players back last week, still look pretty weak on the defensive side. I think Iowa State at home is going to be able to pull off the win. Iowa State at home over 19th ranked Texas in Big 12 play. Next, let's go to a Sun Belt matchup. We have number 25 Appalachian State traveling to Georgia State. Appalachian State is a team that was bidding for that non-Power 5 matchup in the New Year's Bowls until they lost the game a couple weeks ago. But that is still a matchup that anybody could win, whether it's Appalachian State or Navy or Memphis or SMU. Everybody's right up there. But in order to be there, Appalachian State has to win this game at Georgia State. Georgia State has looked decent so far this year, but I think Appalachian State has more to play for, and so because of that, they will be able to go on the road and pull off the win this week. Number 25, Appalachian State will win at Georgia State in Sunbelt play. Next, let's go to a Pac-12 matchup. We have UCLA traveling to number 7, Utah. If you asked me a couple weeks ago if I would pick a UCLA game the rest of this year, I would have said no way. But if you haven't looked, UCLA has won their last 3 games, including a win over a ranked Arizona State team. If they were to win this game over Utah, they'd be right there as a chance to win the Pac-12 South. But Utah, as I mentioned a couple weeks ago, them and Oregon have way too much to play for this season. They need to go into that Pac-12 matchup both with 1 loss to give them a shot for the semifinals. So although I think UCLA could give Utah a good game, and it wouldn't surprise me too much if UCLA won this game, I still think because Utah has so much to play for, they will win this game. So I'm going to pick number 7 Utah at home over UCLA at Pac-12 play. Now let's go to the big matchups for this week, starting with a Big Ten matchup. Number 8 Minnesota traveling to number 20 Iowa. I picked both of these teams wrong last week. Minnesota, I picked to lose to Penn State. They obviously had their big win over Penn State. They jumped up into the top 10 in the football playoff rankings. Number 20, Iowa, I thought would win over Wisconsin. They kept that matchup close, but then they lost at the end of the game. I think Minnesota, because they have so much to play for still, will be able to win this game, although I think it will be close. I'm going to pick number 8 Minnesota to win on the road at number 20 Iowa. Next, let's go to an SEC matchup. We have number 4 Georgia traveling on the road to number 12 Auburn. Obviously, the talk this week has been the number 4 ranking in the college football playoffs between Georgia and Alabama. Obviously, none of that matters if either of those teams lose to Auburn along the way. Georgia this week, Auburn and Alabama in a couple weeks. But I think Georgia knows the position they're in. I think they will go into this game fired up. Auburn always plays teams close, but I think Georgia will be able to pull it off in the end. Number 4 Georgia will win on the road at number 12 Auburn in SEC play. Now for our final matchup, let's go to the Big 12. We have number 10 Oklahoma traveling to number 13 Baylor. Baylor obviously still disrespected by a lot of people in the college football playoffs, being undefeated but still ranked number 13. Oklahoma dropped a spot over in the rankings as well this week after their very close win over Iowa State. Both of these teams have a great chance, no matter what happens, to both make it to the Big 12 championship game in a few weeks, so they might be able to play again. But if either of these teams wants a chance to the playoffs, they're going to have to sweep this matchup. I think Oklahoma is going to have too much in this game. Baylor's been a great story so far this season, but after eking out win after win after win, including a triple overtime win over TCU, I think their luck is just going to run out this weekend. So I'm going to pick Oklahoma to win this matchup. Number 10, Oklahoma, on the road will beat number 13, Baylor. So those are our matchups for this week. Those are my picks. Again, go to my website, cfbroadtrip.com. Next week, I will be traveling to Waco, Texas for the Texas-Baylor matchup. So keep track of everything I'm doing on my website and all the things I'll be doing in Waco over the next couple of weeks. In the meantime, lots of great games. Go enjoy them. Enjoy your Saturday, everyone, and we will talk to you again next week.